Right, welcome to a Dyslexic book review. So this is the series where we basically go through a book which I've been reading this week, and we review it, talk about the things I liked, talk about the things I don't like, and give an overall conclusion on the book. This is from a perspective of someone which is quite dyslexic, so it takes me ages to read a book. For example, this one's 180 pages long. It's probably taken me about 4 weeks to read, mainly because my attention span is genuinely dreadful. And then also because I have to reread a lot of the book for it to actually go into my brain, because obviously the dyslexia, misreading things, not fully understanding, so that's the main thing. But let's get into this one. So this book today is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Now, just a bit about the book. This is a book which I saw while going on a self sort of help sort of thing on YouTube, where I was like researching it a lot, finding out what books are good. And I saw this in a local charity shop. It actually cost me £7, I think, which is expensive for a book. I'm going to be honest, when I bought it, I was like, that's crazy. It was $18 new, but you can get them new for about £10, so it is a really good book. The main things I would talk about it is, so Michael Singer he just believes basically in spirituality, things like yoga and meditation and stuff like that, to basically free your soul, and as the name would suggest, the untethered soul, to become free from worries and stuff like that within this book. In my opinion, there was about 3 hard-hitting points within this book which I found really inspirational personally to me, which I struggle a lot with OCD, which is something I'm going to be talking about on this channel a bit. Not that much, because I've spoke about it a lot before on other social media platforms and stuff like that. But I struggle with OCD a lot, and I always have done without my whole life. And one of the things, obviously, is obsessive, and it's like the thoughts that you can't let go of, and that's something which this book really did help me with. It's like letting go of the things which you experience in life and just see it from a first-person perspective, and hold on to specific moments for too long and try and live in the moment, for example, which was another point I had. Living in the moment is something in which this book preaches an extreme amount. Thinking about spirituality and everything to do with spirituality as well. Thinking, is this the best way to live? The book wants you to live in consciousness, pure consciousness, where you are experiencing things, and it really makes you question what you are and who you are. It really, in a lot of the chapters, makes you think, what actually am I? Am I this body? Am I a spirit? It's very interesting and makes you question a lot of things. And that's one of the things which I would think about in this book, is that it really makes you question who you are. And in my opinion, what a lot of self-help books are is a way to look upon yourself and reflect on the choices you've made in life and who you want to be, that ideal person. In my opinion, self-help books don't especially help you get to that stage. They give you inspiration, and they tell you what to think about and how to reflect on your life and how you want to be. I think that's what it does. It doesn't give you the journey, it gives you the start point and makes you look at where you are now and helps you to reflect and get to where that point is. It's just a middle process, which I found, in my opinion, self-help books like this one, they don't really explain the journey and how to get there. This one does a bit where it'll explain to you, it'll give you a scenario and tell you, do this and then this outcome might happen. But it takes a lot of work, and obviously to change and grow into a better person, that is what it requires, is to do a lot of work and a lot of changing as a human being, which is something which this book does preach. You want to be your highest self, and it talks a lot about yoga and it talks a lot about meditation. Obviously, Michael Singer is very involved within yoga and meditation stuff. I have meditated a lot in my lifetime, a lot, where it's been days I'll do 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Like, I haven't been doing it recently, but this book has really inspired me to get back into my meditation. And there's something about sitting with your own thoughts and just letting them pass and just observing them and seeing that they're just thoughts and they're not you is really important, which this book does preach. There's certain aspects of it, like when it talks about certain aspects of yoga, I thought obviously yoga was just like stretching and stuff. I never really thought that yoga was like a practice which people do, and it's like a way of life and stuff like that, and helps people change their lives and stuff like that, which is something this book has really got me interested in. The final hard-hitting point which I wanted to talk about was the way this book talks about death. The way this book talks about death is really interesting. It basically says death is the ultimate teacher. It is the ultimate lesson, and explains why you should live in the moment and not fear it. You should not fear death. you should learn from it. And that's one of the points which obviously everyone knows death is inevitable. It's going to happen to everyone. And that's one of the most important things that this book says. In my opinion, it's the one that hit me hardest, was thinking about death and thinking, this is important, and it's important to realise, to live in the moment and live in full consciousness. This book is broken down really nicely. I'd say around every 10 to 20 pages there's a chapter, so for me as a dyslexic person, it was really good to read. It made me feel like I could break it down into chunks which were very easy to read, like I could totally understand it, and it made it feel like I could read it without it being too much of a stress, because I like getting to certain endpoints. And as I say, it's helped me a lot think about my OCD and my compulsions and things like this. It's a really interesting book which helps change your mindset and see thoughts as things which aren't you. They are things that are away from you, obviously. They don't make you, thoughts don't make you who you are, and they are not part of you. Now, the things I liked about this book, one of the main things I like about this book is the whole message. It's very spiritual. It's not trying to force you into doing certain things. I'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and do this. It's just saying, try meditation, try yoga, try reflect on yourself and become better. Some of these points are some of the most hard-hitting ones, and the way it speaks about death, it covers a lot of different topics. It covers God, it covers death, it covers being aware in certain situations and certain moments. I think it's a really, really good book for that, and just thinking about life in general and where you want to be in life, how you want to get there. The book is obviously 181 pages long. It's a beautiful book, and it's just really good. Like, genuinely, it made me think so many times while reading the book about my own life and the scenarios that he gives. Putting myself in those scenarios and what I would do is a really interesting concept, which I think a lot of books don't do as well as this one, for example. Some of the things I didn't like about this book was I feel like it is very, how do I say this, first world centric sort of thing. It kind of focuses on first world sort of happiness and stuff like this and spirituality. It gives me the vibe, I'll be honest, of like LA yoga sort of things, which I know it obviously isn't. Yoga is a practice which has been going on for a long period of time, a very long period of time, and meditation as well. It's been going on for a long, long time. In my opinion, it struggles to focus on problems which are not centric to, for example, the Western ideology. I feel like it's very towards America, Europe and stuff like this, where it's like there's no particular problem which you can't just get through, but obviously some people have problems which are a lot harder to get through than others, and in different circumstances people may react differently. And I think that is a thing to think about when thinking about this book. It's good for me. Obviously I live in the UK, which is a very privileged position that I'm in, but I just think for people in different environments it may not be as compatible with them. For me, I have OCD, which obviously is something which is greatly affecting my life, but it's not as bad as other conditions where I feel like I have a decent level of control over it, and I feel like I have the control to change my life and reduce the amount of symptoms which I get from my OCD, for example. I just think that some of it is very good, but then other bits I'm not sure how transferable they will be to other cultures, and that's just an opinion, but it was amazing for me. I'm just not sure about the transferability of this particular book. And then my conclusion and the rating for this book. My conclusion for this book is it's amazing. Like, I genuinely just every day I wanted to read it. I have very bad dyslexia. It was very good for my dyslexia. It broke it down into very good chunks. Didn't have to go back and read it too much. Beautiful writing, and some of the ideas were so amazing and very informational about yoga, meditation and everything to do with that sort of thing. It made me feel like I can change and I'm not my thoughts. Obviously in OCD that is a major thing, so I would say people with OCD, people with mental health conditions, it's a really good book to try and reflect on your life a bit. And even for people without certain mental health conditions, it's a really good book to just reflect on how you're living and where you want to be, and then try and figure out a process from there, which obviously we're all trying to be a better version of ourselves, or we should be anyway. And that's one of the things this book really does well, is tries to, well, for me it gave me a lot of motivation to try and grow and to try and develop as a human being and learn and change to be as good as possible. I would give this book a 9 out of 10. Obviously it's the first book I've read in probably years, probably since GCSE English. It's been a long time, I'll be honest with you. But it was an amazing read. Like, I genuinely didn't want to put it down. It may take me a while to review other books on this channel, but I'm hoping to carry this series on because I do love reading now. It's something which has really come into my life and changed the way I think, and give me a different form of entertainment, which I feel is also educating me as well, which is really nice. But if you have enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's been a wild ride getting back to making videos, so I appreciate anyone, if they would like to watch the videos, just like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm here hopefully twice a week, so I'm going to be doing my best.